Hi, it's Chris, and in this vinyl update I'm going to show you some records I picked up on a recent trip to Sydney. I went over there for a conference, so I tacked a couple of days on beforehand so I could have a weekend going around the record shops. This was an indispensable guide, Diggin Sydney. Such a great thing. Guide to all the record shops around Sydney, maps, just little descriptions of what kind of stuff they sell and specialise in. And most of the places I went to I found through this, though there were a couple of others online. So I started off in the CBD and visited Red Eye Records, Utopia and Lawson Records, and I actually didn't find anything. It was on the Saturday morning. There were a couple of things that were interesting, but most of the stuff I already had and or a bit pricey. So I moved on and caught the train out to Newtown, and there's such a fantastic public transport system in Sydney, something I'm not used to, certainly in Auckland, and went out there and really struck gold out in Newtown. So the first shop I hit was Repressed Records, where I got this. This is a Dead Forest Index Antique, an EP from 2000 and I think 2012. So Adam and Sam Sherry are the two brothers in here, and I think they're from Wellington originally maybe. And who is it that does vocals? Yeah, Adam Sherry. He has the most amazing voice. It's very kind of ethereal, kind of Cocteau Twins like. Their album All Fall From Summit Down, which came out last year, was a real standout of last year's Kiwi releases, and this earlier EP kind of points in the same direction, and while not all of it, certainly some of it is really up to that level and really, really strong. In the same shop, I picked up something I've been after for a while, the Garbage and the Flowers Deep Niche. They're a Wellington lo-fi kind of Velvet Underground-esque band who had an outstanding record, the Eyes Rind and something. Oh, Jesus, I'll post it, what the name of that is. But this was released last year on Grapefruit Records, but I just haven't seen it in any New Zealand shops at any point in time. So it was really nice to find it without having to pay enormous postage to bring it in from the US. I asked the guy in Repressed Records where else I should check out. He sent me just a little down the road to Halcyon Days. We had a nice chat to the guy in there and picked up this, the OMC. We are the OMC, the Otaru Millionaires Club. Before the days of How Bizarre, when OMC was still kind of a hip-hop act from South Auckland rather than a pop act from LA, and probably my favourite OMC track. Well, I mean, I like the other ones, but this is in a different vein, and it was good to pick up that four remixes of that track on there. Then I went up the road, just up the road to Egg Records, and I'd advise anyone visiting record shops in Sydney to go to this place. So most of the shops I went to had Australia and New Zealand sections. Egg Records had carved out a specific New Zealand section, and boy did they have some good stuff in there. The guy behind the counter was telling me he'd had a collection recently come in, but some really interesting stuff in both their experimental and New Zealand sections. So this came from Egg. This is what we're listening to now, Spine's Idiot Son, their album on Flying Nun Records, and with great cover artwork from John McCleary, who's also the main songwriter. And Spines are kind of quirky, interesting pop rock songs. But yeah, really strong. This album's really good. I'm really pleased with this. I also picked up by Spines from the same bin this 12-inch EP, which was on Ripper Records, and this is Punch and the B-side, Your Body Stays, which I really like. Again, kind of interesting ideas on pop songs. This I think from 1982. Staying with Egg, lesser known Flying Nun release, Nick Smith's Skin, his EP. Nick Smith is a kind of lefty folk, slightly avant-gardist, and this EP is from, I think, from 1987, It doesn't all work. The last track is this recording of these two guys having a conversation. It does nothing for me at all, but there is a couple of things on here which I thought were really interesting, and it was cheap. This was also from Egg. I'm not sure how you pronounce the name of this band. Is it Mole Mane? I've got another record of theirs I picked up from Death Ray Records earlier in the year, and this is, what is it? It's yeah, kind of alternative, kind of post-punky, early 80s songs, and yeah, this is it's in great condition, and there's a couple of really nice songs on here. The last one I picked up from Egg was something I've been looking for a while, which was this great compilation, Hard Edge Records present The Heart of the Edge, The Rock of the Roll, featuring 9 of the country's hottest bands. It's a punk compilation from the, when would it be from, late 80s, early 90s, and I was particularly after this. So there's bands on here like 5 Year Mission and Flesh Device, No Idea, but why I really wanted this is because it has tracks by the Mindfuckers, a Dunedin band I used to really be into, that I had a lot of cassettes by, and a couple of my favourite tracks from those cassettes, Millions of Pills and I Am a Duck, are on this compilation. It's in great condition and includes this brilliant poster, which is in just excellent condition. So yeah, Egg Records, what a shop. And I could have easily spent as much again in there, because they just had so much stuff, but I was stretching the old budget and I still had a few places to go to. So from there I wandered out, went up to the end of the street, and there was a market with a couple of stalls selling records. Not a lot there, but I did find this, which was Figure 60, a release on Crawl Space Records. A great shop that used to exist in Auckland, who put a lot of money back into releasing interesting music. This is from their 7-inch vinyl series when they first started doing that, before they kind of ventured into more lathe cuts and so on. So that was a great find in amongst, you know, a whole lot of kind of standard rock and pop dross really. And then that first day, the last place I ended up that sold records was a place called Record Crate out on Glebe Point Road, which had boxes and boxes of pretty tatty kind of stuff I wasn't really into. I mean, there might have been some stuff there for kind of funk and soul fans, which isn't really my thing. There was a couple of DJs spitting stuff from the bins. They had some nice beers on tap. It was a nice place to hang out. I was about to leave, but then I spotted a shelf of 7 inches that I hadn't seen earlier. Had to dig through. None of them were priced. I asked him about that, and he said, "Oh, well, what are you interested in?" So I picked this up for just a few bucks. It was the Swingers. It ain't what you dance, it's the way you dance it, backed by Flack, and it's on Mushroom, and it has in really nice condition this great fold out poster sleeve. So yeah, that was a really nice way to finish the first day of digging in Sydney. So the next morning I thought, right, I had a look at my map and my guide, and I thought, where will I go? I thought I'll check out Surrey Hills, and so I wanted to go up there. I wanted to check out this place called Radio Free Alice. So I trekked in Darlinghurst, so I trekked my way up there, only to find a sign in the door saying I've gone on holiday back in 2 weeks, which was a bummer. So I went off. I went to a little place that sold coffee and records, didn't find anything there, and then to Title. Now, I've been to Title in the past, and someone had also told me online, and I remembered it as being one of those kind of polished wooden floorboards, plywood crates full of new reissues of, you know, iconic rock records, and it's certainly like that in the front. But in the back they had some old stock that was on sale and a few second-hand items. They had some great New Zealand stuff actually in the sale bins for a really good price for the stuff I already had. And then in the second-hand bins I found this, Max Merritt and the Meteors. New Zealanders are known for the song Slippin' Away, but he went off to Sydney and recorded a couple of really interesting records. this being one of them, and this is from 1970. It's an original pressing of this with gatefold sleeve, so I picked that up there. And I also picked up Phil Judd, who of course was in the Split Ends and then the Swingers, so his first solo album, Private Lives, on Mushroom, and this was also in good condition, a bit of a sticker mark, but there he is, Phil Judd. About to put the knife in the toaster, and lyric sheet on there. So yeah, I was pleased to find those in Title, and I thought, right, where from here? I went to a place called the Record Store, which had 40% off all vinyl that day, just by fluke, which was great, but unfortunately didn't have anything I wanted. So I went downtown and caught the ferry over to Manly, and then kind of wandered around for quite a while trying to find this place, which was in the guide as being, or as Desire Books and Records. It took a bit of finding, but they had some great stuff in there. There were a lot of records in there. So I got the Tin Syndrome, which is a Wellington band from the mid-80s, and it's not dissimilar to some of the stuff that was being done on Braille records. In fact, one of the things that drew me to this was that David Long, who was on some of those Braille records releases, plays guitar on here. So this is kind of arty, jazzy Wellington art pop from the mid-80s. Oh, the album's called No Ordinary Sickness. Nemesis Dub System, Spirit Virus and Buzz Buzz, 12-inch EP from them. This is kind of from the days, the early 90s days of fusing together kind of dub and rock and electronic stuff, and while it's not all great, there's a couple of good things on here, and it was super cheap. That was from Desire. And the last thing I found in there, I actually had to check on Discogs on my phone to see if I already had this, but it didn't for some reason, which is the Chills. I Love My Leather Jacket and The Great Escape, the 12-inch EP of that. And this is, so it's a New Zealand pressing of this I found there, and it was really cheap as well, and a nice copy of that. So that was it. That was the end of Sunday, and then I went off to my conference, which finished on the Wednesday. I was hoping to get back out to Newtown to go to Egg Records again, but things ran late and I didn't get a chance to. I was kind of running short on time. And then I remembered I went to the hotel to pick up my bag to catch the train out to the airport, and Utopia Records was right next door. I'd been there on the Saturday, hadn't found anything, but I thought, I'll have another look. So I went down, had another poke through the new arrivals bins, and found this, which hadn't been there on the Saturday, which is Fetus Productions present Luminous Trails on Fly Nun. This is Jed Town's band after the features, and so kind of electronic-y, industrial stuff from Jed Town. So that was a really nice find. And I took it up to the counter. There was kind of people in front of me, and I was waiting, and I was thinking, I'm actually going to have to leave this and go without it, because I really needed to catch the train to the airport. So finally, anyway, I got served, and the guy was talking to me, and I said, oh look, I've got to go. And he goes, oh, if you're into Fly Nun, you should look at this. And he pulled out this box from under the bench of 7-inch singles, and he goes, I think there's one or two in this box. So I had a really quick flick through of this box of unpriced singles, and found this, the Double Happies, double B-side, The Other's Way and Anyone Else Would. And it wasn't priced, but I said, oh look, I'm interested, I've got to go, what do you think? And got it for a good price, so I was really happy with that, and it's in nice condition as well. So that ended up being a really fortuitous and nice way to finish my Kiwi record digging in Sydney. Thanks for watching. Cheers.